as I mentioned earlier, we're going to start with the NBA Finals. I didn't know if you had any specific direction for this Game 7 that you wanted to head into.
Yeah, so I wanted to maybe first congratulate the Oklahoma City Thunder. I feel like the way the news cycle works now is that we are so quick to like move on to the next thing that like even acknowledging the fact that a team just won the NBA Finals is like almost swept under the rug for the KD trade, Anthony signings, and looking ahead. But first of all, they put together a great roster. Obviously, Sam Presti and their whole general manager staff and everybody in that front office has done such a great job over the last couple of years, and now they've finally been rewarded with their first ever NBA title, at least as a part of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Which I mean, shout out to their city and shout out to everything that they've built there. And it looks like they're going to be one of the teams to just be a force for the foreseeable future. They almost won 70 games, and they have a young core that should be intact for a while. But as part of the game, I think you like the first part of like your statement covered it pretty well. That as soon as Tyrese Halliburton went down, it felt like that game was like Oklahoma City's to lose by like a mile. Like that game was close until it wasn't. They blew it up in the third quarter. TJ McConnell tried holding them in the game, but it just wasn't going to be enough. And like it probably shouldn't have been. Like if TJ McConnell is the second best player on your team, like for an extended period of time, you're probably not going to win an NBA championship, unfortunately. But the Pacers did a great job of holding in that series, and the fact that we got a Game 7 for the first time in almost a decade was a really nice watch.
Yeah, it was. I was just happy to, kind of be there as a fan, just being able to watch Game 7. It was just so unfortunate that Tyrese Halliburton went down the way that he did. The team, the Pacers specifically, rallied. After he went down in that first half, they were up at the end of the half. And then that third quarter, it was only TJ McConnell. I forget how many points he had straight for that team. I think he had maybe 10 or 12 points straight. And then as the quarter went on, Caruso was able to check into the game. And then there was some more turnovers from TJ McConnell, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be enough. And then I was looking for Pascal Siakam in that game. He seemed to have been out. I don't know how he doesn't play 40 minutes in Game 7, but that's not what lost them the game. The Thunder went on ahead, won it. They didn't fold under any circumstances. Shea didn't have a great shooting night, but still they were able to put it together. He still had a good game, and then a more than deserving Finals MVP for him. So the Thunder were able to do what they do best, force turnovers, and then capitalize on the other end. And they're the best team this year. And more power to them. Maybe it would have been different with Tyrese Halliburton, but it's a battle of attrition. And every single year there's injuries, and the healthiest team will win the championship, and got to give it up.
Yeah, and I think that mentioning that even in Shea's bad games, it feels like he still steps up to the plate. I feel like Game 4 was one of those games where he wasn't having a great shooting performance, and in the fourth quarter, that just looking back, obviously in hindsight, or even in real time, going down 3-1 wasn't a thing that you wanted to do if you were the Oklahoma City Thunder. But being able to have your best player step up in the biggest moments and essentially win you that Game 4 by himself really ended up paying dividends for them in the long run, because I don't think that they would have been able to come back 3-1. And just throughout the course of the series, it might not have been Shea's greatest performance in the world, but throughout the course of the season, he's been one of the most consistent players like that we've seen. He's averaged 30, and just for the last couple of years now, he's averaged 30 points for each of the last 3 seasons. And that he's a constant bucket getter, and he's like even creating for his teammates more because of the fact that he's getting so much more attention. So I think that all props to him, and he's definitely one of, if not like definitely bordering on the best player in the league.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Even when it seems like he's not shooting as well, he still kind of figures out how to have a good game. And I feel like he did that in every single game in the finals. And it was weird because, you didn't feel like you could really rely on Jalen Williams or Chet Holmgren. Usually maybe it's at least one or the other, but both of those guys were just a little bit too up and down. Chet Holmgren seems like he was pushed kind of to the side until this Game 7. And you really needed Shea to just kind of power through whatever slumps he ended up dealing with. And at the end of the day, he ended up with a great stat line for the entire finals. And this Thunder team, they shouldn't get any disrespect, or there shouldn't be any sort of delegitimizing their ring in a sense. I think that they're one of the best teams that we have seen over the last, 7 years now, since we've had, individual champions, no repeat champions. And I think of that group, they are among the best. I would include them maybe in the same conversation as the Celtics from last year. And then I got to think of some of the other teams that were really good over the last 7 years, like the Nuggets,
Lakers.
Bucks, Lakers. Yeah, maybe the Lakers are last. I don't know if they're last, but the Raptors are up there too. I mean, But like I saw like Colin Cowherd ranked them or whatever. He had the Lakers
Maybe
first.
we should do a ranking one day.
I definitely think we should rank these teams. I think that would be a really good conversation. But I think that the Thunder team are at the top, and Shea
even over the Celtics last year.
Huh?
Even over last year's Celtics team.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm asking you that.
No, I don't think so. I think the Celtics team is the best team that we've seen since those Warriors teams. But I will say for Shea, and we've had a lot of legacy conversations. We got plenty of time to have them. It's really nice to get the monkey off your back in all facets. Get that MVP, get that finals MVP, and then get that championship. Now it's kind of playing with house money a little bit because we haven't really seen any of the other guys such as Jokic, Tatum, or Giannis really build off of not off of winning a championship, but it's not like they have 2 rings. Or Tatum is obviously missing the finals MVP. We do with that information what you will, as well as the MVP. But still, like, the resume is kind of taking shape for Shea, and he's got a ton of time left.
Yeah, and you put yourself in those conversations, like with everything that you just said, you get the like you mentioned, like just all those accomplishments coming in one season. You kind of just like check a bunch of those boxes, and now you can have legitimate conversations. Where I feel like coming into the season, you knew Shea was a consistent 3-point per game scorer, but last season they were a little bit underwhelming in the playoffs. So you needed that last box to be checked off, and they did it this year. And it was a whole team effort. But again, like we were saying, like they have a great team from top to bottom, but Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the reason. And he, like, very deserving Finals MVP. Is the reason why they are NBA champions. So, as a whole, I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder are just a threat to watch out for the coming seasons. Obviously, we have like league moves that we're going to talk about, and just shaking up of the like just the whole NBA. But I think that the West is definitely the conference to come out of at this point, especially with how the East is looking, and they look to be like the favorites going forward, at least for the foreseeable future.
I mean, before Halliburton went down, we were already counting the Eastern Conference teams that potentially weren't going to be as good next year as they were this year, and you add them to the list. I mean, this Eastern Conference is wide open next year, it feels like. So we'll see how the Pacers end up taking on next season. Maybe they tank.